Hello and welcome to the 9 News Business Buzz, where we take up what's happening in business, why it's important to you and our economy. I'm Ryan Frazier, 9 News business expert and CEO of Frazier Global. I'm joined today by Drew Lyon, co-founder of Pallium, an AI-powered tech company. Drew, welcome on the Business Buzz.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Drew, how are things going at Pallium?
They're going great. We help businesses understand all aspects of revenue, profit, and risk by taking all forms of comms and giving the insights and direction people need to do business better.
Yeah, Drew, and which I think makes you an exceptionally good guest to talk about this emerging topic that is really catching the attention of a lot of folks in a number of industries, tech, bioscience, healthcare, just to name a few. And that is the Trump administration has made effective a new $100,000 fee for H-1B visas, which are instrumental, as I said before, for our science, technology, engineering, even healthcare sectors. Now, supporters say this protects American jobs. Opponents argue it could cripple our innovation economy by locking out essential high-skilled talent. One thing is for sure, this will drastically change the math for businesses that are considering using this program. Give us your take on what this means for the ability to hire and find talent here in Colorado.
I think both the proponents and detractors are right, and I think the nuance is around it is going to significantly change the landscape for innovation. $100,000 for a small, medium-sized business is a significant investment, and ultimately finding a way to pay for that or not, could be the difference between a business succeeding or failing.
Yeah.
And right now there is a challenge on finding good people to be able to meet certain requirements, and so I think it will certainly drive more jobs into the U.S. I think what's yet to be seen is the true deep impact of are companies going to be able to find the right people to fill those roles quickly enough.
Your experience in the tech industry, how reliant would you say Colorado companies are on the H-1B visa program?
I'd say for certain industries and certain size businesses, especially smaller businesses, there's a significant reliance on the program. And so this new law really does change the dynamics and landscape significantly.
Yeah, now there was a recent report that highlights the panic in the tech industry where leaders say this fee of this side would be a devastating blow, especially for startups and mid-sized companies. I want to unpack that a little bit more, Drew, because this is a world you're very familiar with. Could a small but fast-growing tech company realistically afford a $100,000 fee to hire, say, one essential engineer? And what does this do to their ability to compete?
I'd say no, absolutely not. I don't think they can afford it. I think maybe you can find a U.S.-based person for that role. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a little bit of a square peg, round hole. You're not going to be having a perfect fit, and I think there's a lot of downstream impacts to that. Like specifically, as we look at it and say, if you hire the perfect person, great, things go well, business succeeds. But if you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and you're, missing some, key competencies in that, you might move slower or you might not reach your outcome at all, which will, longer term, mean that you can't hire other people because you haven't been able to innovate and you haven't been able to get to market and you haven't been able to position the product effectively because it just doesn't do what it needs to because you kind of didn't have the right material to start with.
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to be some significant unintended consequences of it.
Yeah. Now, the debate over the H-1B visa program is a flashpoint in this larger battle over how to balance protecting domestic jobs with the critical need for global talent to fuel Colorado, or for that matter, any state's high-growth industries. As we've said before, proponents of the fee argue that it will force companies to prioritize hiring and training American workers instead of relying on foreign talent. Do you think this is a realistic outcome, or is the talent gap in these specialized fields so wide that this policy will simply hamstring growth without creating new opportunities for American workers?
I think if certain things were done beforehand, we would be okay. Specifically, training and development is not a quick fix. It's a significant investment that takes a lot of time, and most companies are not prepared to spin up those sort of resources quickly nor effectively. And so I think ultimately what's going to happen is you're just going to have an overarching slowdown and a lack of talent and a lack of development in people that are found. I do think initially we'll hire more, companies will be hiring more US-based staff. I just don't think the the competency alignment's going to be there, and it will hamstring certain companies significantly.
It's going to be interesting to watch because I know there are typically in any given year hundreds of thousands of requests. Now there's a statutory cap that only allows for say 65,000 plus another 20,000. So total 85,000 of these H-1B visas are granted in any given year. So it'll be interesting to see if the number of applications go down and actually how many are granted in any given year. But that's a data point we'll have to talk about next year as we see these numbers come to fruit. Let's go beyond the cost of this $100,000 figure, which for anyone is sticker shock, right? A recent report noted that the uncertainty around these immigration policies can have a chilling effect on both international students who might want to stay and work here, as well as companies who are making long-term hiring plans. What would you say is the long-term risk to Colorado's reputation as a top-tier tech hub if we are seen as a place that no longer is welcoming of the best and brightest?
I think overarchingly, it just hurts the economy in a deeply impactful way, insofar that we're not going to be able to generate, develop, and implement and take to market new ideas. And I think, like when we've looked at America's leading position as an innovator in the world, fostering that type of environment is key, and ensuring that people feel welcomed and companies are supported in developing what is ultimately highly risky, often failure-ridden attempts to innovate. And so giving businesses every advantage possible to take those risks and to give business owners and leaders those abilities, I believe is of paramount importance. And I think the new legislation disproportionately and adversely impacts small and medium-sized businesses and makes it much harder.
Yeah. Now, some people say, look, we don't need this. We got American workers here, right here. So let me ask you this, Drew. Do you think the H-1B visa program is needed to spur America's innovation economy?
I definitely think it is needed. I think there is a lack of people that have the required competencies. And I think it really does start with that training and workforce development. And I just think we have denigrated that for decades. And it's very hard to take a new idea to market and to find the right people to do that. And really building out a culture of investment into people and how we're going to enable them to meet the demands of the jobs that are being filled and the market. We need to start doing that more, and we need to be doing it more thoughtfully.
Yeah. From your perch as a co-founder of Pallium, and as my own perch as a founder of my own company at Frazier Global, I think about, look, we don't hire that many international people myself. And so, but I can tell you one thing, that a $100,000 fee to do it would definitely discourage us. We're just not going to do it as much. That said, maybe that's the intent behind this. How does this affect you at Pallium, or could?
So ultimately what could happen is my other business, I've done hundreds of companies with a fractional CFO firm I run. And not only with my own business, but with businesses I've advised, they rely on this type of service and platform to be able to go find that talent. And I think it's definitely going to impact, how to find these people, how to engage with them, how to bring them on. And I think while there's some staff in the U.S. that could work, I think it's still going to be a massive challenge going forward.
Drew, we got to run. Drew Lyon with Pallium, thanks for joining us. The bottom line is that this debate for the H-1B visa is a high-stakes balancing act of our economy. The challenge for policymakers is to find a way to protect American jobs while ensuring Colorado's most innovative companies have access to the world-class talent they need to compete and create jobs for the future right here at home. Our goal is for you to stay informed, be engaged, and get ahead of the game. So be sure to stay tuned for more business news and discussions on the Business Buzz. We'll be back during the 11 a.m. hour to take up the future of Colorado neighborhoods and the push for more housing density. For the 9 News Business Buzz, I'm Ryan Frazier. Lawrence Cafidi picks it up after the break. See you next time.